What if I told you Arena Breakout isn't just a game? It's a chronicle of betrayal unfolding inside a world that has already collapsed. A world where the war may seem over, but its consequences are still spreading. Welcome to Kamona, where the idea of good guys didn't just fade over time. It disappeared completely. To understand Kamona, you have to look at what it once was. This isn't just a map you deploy into. It was a sovereign nation filled with functioning cities, quiet towns, open farmlands, rivers full of life, and people who believed in a stable future. It had structure, order, and meaning. But that version of Kamona didn't collapse overnight. It was dismantled slowly and deliberately. What began as political tension evolved into manipulation and external interference, eventually trapping the nation between two global powers, Colum from the west and Tevala from the east. This wasn't a direct invasion, but a proxy war fought through Kamona rather than for it. The most dangerous part is that there was no single moment of destruction. What killed Kamona was a slow rot, a breakdown of trust, leadership, and stability. While this happened, the Summit Committee, which was supposed to maintain peace, chose not to intervene. They observed from the shadows as the system collapsed. And when it finally did, PMCs like Black Gold and White Wolf stepped in, not to rebuild, but to profit from what remained. From a fallen nation to your role. And that leads to an uncomfortable question. If Kamona is already gone, then what exactly are you doing here? Because when you enter Kamona, you don't arrive as a soldier or a savior. You arrive as an operator, and everything you interact with carries meaning whether you realize it or not. Every item you pick up tells a story. The necklace in a drawer, the gold lion locked inside a safe, the food left behind, the miscellaneous items. None of it is random. These are remnants of lives interrupted when a North-South conflict ignited. They belong to people who thought they had time to escape, but didn't. Every piece of loot is something someone couldn't carry. However, some items carry more than memory. They carry value, and value creates risk. The moment you pick them up, you become anxious and start thinking about how to extract. And that's where Top Up Live comes in. For just $6, you can secure your valuables. And if you use code AtankiAB, you get 12% off. Link is in pinned comment or in description. The grim reality of exploration. Looting doesn't fully capture what's happening. What you're really doing is excavation. When you look closely at your surroundings, the furniture, the houses, the locked rooms, untouched safes, you realize these are not just gameplay elements. They are frozen moments. Every drawer you open and every container you search represents a life that ended mid-decision, mid-action, mid-escape. You're not exploring a map. You're walking through the remains of choices that failed. Why operators betray each other. This environment changes people, and that includes you. You're not a hero here. You are an operator, a scavenger operating in a system built entirely around extraction. Every other operator who enters Kamona shares the same objective: loot and extract. There are no sides, no ideology, and no lasting alliances. Even when two operators share a goal, that alignment is temporary. In Kamona, trust isn't just fragile, it's dangerous. You don't form teams, you form short-term calculations. The moment the situation changes or better loot appears, so do your priorities. In most games, you're rewarded for saving others, but here you're rewarded for surviving them. You're not fighting for justice or freedom. You're fighting because something has value and everyone else wants it. In this world, you are both the hunter and the hunted at the same time. What makes something truly valuable? This raises a deeper question. Why risk everything for items that seem insignificant? The answer is simple. Some of them are not just items. They are truth, and truth in Kamona is more dangerous than any weapon. The secret document, the core of the war. The secret document may look like ordinary paper, but it is the most dangerous object in Kamona. Compiled by high-ranking military officials and tolling group executives, it exists as a classified dossier, hidden inside the TV station's secure archives. It serves as the black box of Kamona's collapse, containing information that was never meant to surface. The identities of spies who destabilized the nation, the coordinates of hidden bunkers, evidence of illegal biological experiments, and proof of global powers secretly funding the destruction of the country. If this document were exposed, it wouldn't end the war, it would escalate it globally. That's why it's worth millions. Not because of what it is, but because of what it can cause. It drives conflict across every level of Kamona, with factions hunting it for leverage, bosses guarding it to maintain control, and operators betraying each other for a chance to extract with it. It is not just loot, it is power in its purest form. The Utopia Project, what was hidden? But the secret document is only part of the story. Before the war fully erupted, there were already signs of something deeper. Restricted facilities, unregistered labs, and operations hidden from the public eye. At the center of it all was a program known as Utopia. Funded by the Tolan Group, Utopia wasn't created to save lives, but to redesign them. Inside these hidden laboratories, illegal human experiments were conducted with the goal of creating super soldiers. The high-tier stimulants found across Kamona are remnants of that research. At the core of this project is the Utopia hazmat case, which contains a biological sample, possibly a failed cure or an unstable mutation that was never meant to leave the lab. This is why factions constantly fight over the TV station, because it holds both the data behind these experiments and the physical evidence of what they created. The war in Kamona wasn't just political, it was engineered. The bosses, rulers of the ruins. With the collapse of government and order, new figures rose to power. The bosses you encounter are not random enemies. They're survivors who adapted and took control. Many of them are former military leaders or elites who chose not to escape when the system failed. Instead, they established dominance over specific regions. The collapse of Kamona didn't just leave ruins. It created a vacuum filled by men who traded their humanity for power. Ajax Jones was the first to carve out a legacy in the Arbor farmlands. Once a loyal soldier in the 4th Armored Infantry Brigade, he refused to retreat when the world fell apart. Known for his signature red beret and his tactical use of smoke to mask his movements, he turned the farm into a checkpoint where the only currency is survival. For his heroic defense of the territory, he was gifted a pocket knife, labeled Saber, by his superior, a token he carries to this day as a symbol of his authority. Further west, the valley fell under the cold, calculated grip of Dos Anthony. A kingpin of the Antonio crime family, Dos doesn't see the war as a tragedy, but as a business opportunity for illegal arms trading. Dressed in a brown suit and gold-rimmed sunglasses, he rules from a seaside villa, protected by the largest contingent of bodyguards in the region. To Dos, every intruder is a line item in a ledger that must be balanced with blood, and he is never far from his gold Desert Eagle or the alarm that summons his private army. In the freezing heights of Northridge, the Forest Man, Fred Lee exists as a ghost among the pines. A veteran who lost his wife during the siege of Anodos, Fred is a man fueled by grief and lethal precision. He is often seen in a dark green hood, clutching an SVDS sniper rifle and a replica of his lost wedding ring. Associated with the elite White Wolf Squad, he doesn't announce his presence. By the time you see the Northridge Wraith, his high-tier rounds have usually already found their mark. As the chaos spread to the coast, the port fell under the command of Derwin Pan, a former Northern Front naval captain and first mate of the destroyer Polaris. Derwin is a man defined by a single act of defiance. When high-ranking officials ordered him to sink the Polaris to prevent it from falling into enemy hands, he led a mutiny instead, seizing the harbor to protect the vessel and his crew. Now, he rules the Port Authority with tactical precision. He is a master of defense. If his initial guards are threatened, he uses the port's public address system to summon an endless wave of reinforcements, proving that he still views the harbor as his personal battleship. The specialists of the TV station. Deep within the city, the TV station became the most contested ground in Kamona. It was occupied by 3 elite specialists from Black Gold Universal who represent the cutting edge of modern warfare. Rolf Schneider, the Berserker and CQC specialist who survived a crushing mercenary failure earlier in his career. Traumatized and aggressive, he often charges intruders with a sledgehammer or brass knuckles. Kurt Williams, the leader and tactical genius, instantly recognizable by his customized T6 chest rig and combat compass. Bernard Martin, the marksman, a former member of Column's Special Air Service who stalks the halls in a red plaid shirt, picking off targets with his M110. The departure, why they left. The trio did not seize the TV station just for territory. They were sent by their handler, Kayla, to retrieve a high-value biological substance known as Utopia. After a brutal siege that nearly wiped out the defending White Wolf squad, the trio finally secured the samples. Once their objective was achieved, they abandoned the station to deliver the Utopia samples and collect their massive payout. Finally, all roads lead to the armory, where the Iron Commander, Renoir Brady, reigns supreme. As the leader of the Marilos Liberation Army, Renoir is the man who defected from the military to become a warlord. He is the ultimate obstacle, encased in heavy armor and his iconic Masha welding helmet. He represents the dark conclusion of the Civil War, a leader who didn't just survive the collapse, but actively build a new, more brutal order within the bunker's steel walls. To face Renoir is to face the full weight of Kamona's fallen military might. The contacts, the system behind you. Above operators and bosses are the contacts, the ones who never enter Kamona but control everything within it. They are not allies, but intermediaries representing larger, hidden powers such as corporations, governments, and unknown entities. Every mission they assign is not designed to help you survive, but to use you efficiently. You gather intelligence, recover assets, and test dangerous zones, all for systems that remain untouched by the chaos they helped create. To them, you are not valuable, you are replaceable. If you go missing, there is no rescue or delay. You are immediately replaced, and the operation continues without you. The world that failed. If you want to truly understand Kamona, you have to look beyond the missions and focus on the environment itself. The luggage left near doors, the locked homes, and the checkpoints frozen mid-evacuation are not just visual details. They are evidence of a failed escape. They tell the story of people who believed they had time, but didn't. You are not exploring a world. You are walking through the aftermath of abandonment. Before the war even began, Kamona was already breaking under political corruption, economic instability, and hidden power struggles. The war didn't start the collapse, it revealed it. When trust finally disappeared, everything else followed, and the system fell apart from within. The end, the cycle of Kamona. So what happens next? Will someone rebuild order, or will operators remain trapped in this endless cycle of extraction and survival? The truth is, Kamona doesn't move forward, it repeats itself. As long as something holds value, people will keep coming, keep fighting, and keep extracting. Kamona is not a place you escape. It's a system you participate in. So ask yourself, when the moment comes, will you escape with the truth, or will you become part of it? Because in Kamona, you don't find the story finds you. And eventually, every operator faces the same fate. You either extract, or you remain behind as loot, waiting for someone just like you. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to check the pinned comment or the description. I'll see you in the arena.